In Bengaluru, every monsoon brings a deluge not just of rain but of reckoning. And now Karnataka's Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar has issued his clear warning yet again. If your building causes flooding, don't expect any mercy. The city's stormwater drains, once meant to carry rainwater into its network of lakes, have become death traps, choked by encroachments and sanctioned negligence. And this time, the bulldozer is the message. Under the Disaster Management Act, Shivakumar has launched a demolition drive targeting illegal constructions that obstruct stormwater flow, calling it not just civic action but disaster prevention. He said, "We are not targeting property, we are targeting greed." But as bulldozers roll in, a bigger question looms large. Who decides what stays and what falls? Will the BBMP be held accountable for the very encroachments it once cleared and sanctioned? And what happens to those who built in blind spots blessed by civic silence?
From the last 1.5 weeks, it has been raining heavily in Bengaluru. In fact, right now as we speak, it is still drizzling in the city, and there are chances that it might rain to a large extent right now. But we are here right now at the Hebbal Lake, where yesterday the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, DK Shivakumar, had done city rounds, and that city round of his had created a huge uproar in the city because what he touched upon was a very sensitive issue, which is of encroachment. Now we are at a spot which was inspected yesterday, and this is a spot which is believed to be one of the places where heavy encroachments have been done by Tech Park. Firstly, let me just show you the stormwater drains which is over here. Now these are the stormwater drains that help water from various parts of the city to get accumulated here, and then it goes on to the larger stormwater drains, which help in making sure that there is no water logging when it rains in Bengaluru. As you can see, this stormwater drains comes and ends right here. Now this is a wall that has been built by this particular company called Karle Tech Park, where they have blocked the stormwater drain, and a small route has been made over here, which there is a small lane for stormwater to pass by, and that gets smaller and smaller as it goes by. Now this is the wall that they were talking about. Now these companies allege that the maps that they had used, or the site that the plans that they had used, had no stormwater drain written in it.
That was my colleague Mohammad Vajiullah's report. The crisis actually isn't limited to storm drains. Karnataka's lakes, the city's natural flood buffers, are vanishing under illegal occupation. Out of 10,931 lake encroachments across the state, only 6,065 have been cleared. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is just furious. At a recent review meeting, he ordered action against deputy commissioners and CEOs of districts that have failed to remove even a single encroachment. Why haven't lakes been cleared despite repeated instructions? This slack will not be tolerated, said the CM, directing Chief Secretary Shalini Rajneesh to file a report and hold officers accountable. And as the city drowns in encroachments, so does the coast. In Ulal Taluk of Bengaluru, heavy rains triggered landslides that collapsed hills onto homes. In Montepadavu, 5 were trapped, 2 rescued, 3 still buried under debris as rescue efforts continue. In Derelakate, a 6-year-old girl called Fatima was pulled out alive after hours of digging through a collapsed hill. She is in serious condition at a private hospitals. Entire stretches of Ulal, Talapadi, Kotekaru and other low-lying areas are underwater. The message is clear: rain doesn't kill, neglect does. My colleague Vajiullah spoke to urban expert Vivek Menon, who served on the Chief Minister's Vision Group. He warns that even solutions like white-topping roads are failing due to poor inter-agency planning. Listen in.
Sir, and also every time we talk about, every time it rains, every time we see waterlogging, we always come across these clickbait solutions. We never have a long-time solution. Now, yesterday, the Deputy Chief Minister, excuse me, has gone on to say that he will remove all the encroachments. Is it the first time? Have you heard that?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, I've been hearing this for the past 15 years. And the unfortunate part is that the perpetrators are the government, both the politicians on one side and the bureaucracy on the other, and they just play this real blame game of trying to hoodwink actually the public into believing that they're actually doing something. If you see building violations today, there are buildings that have gone up 6 and 7 stories. Now, who allows them to do that in the first place? Breaking it down is never a solution because it's very difficult to break it down. The same way, removing encroachments, if you've allowed an encroachment to come in, then you've obviously been party to this problem. And today you come out and you make these click bites and sound bites, and basically it looks very good. It's a lot of grandstanding. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to come out of it. In fact, so much so, I would say that it's used to extort money from the people who are actually the perpetrators. So I think in a way we are killing our city. We have a brand Bangalore, which is known across the world. But unfortunately today, people are migrating to other cities just because of the livability and the lack of livability actually within Bangalore.
Should we all be celebrating? Because in Bengaluru and beyond, every inch of illegal construction is now under the scanner. But the real question isn't how many walls fall. It's how many lessons are learnt. Will they be learnt? Because when cities are built on drains, every cloud becomes a loaded question. Let me go across to Maria Hussain, who's civic activist, and she's joining us live from Bengaluru. Maria, thank you so much for joining us. The question, should we be celebrating? Should we be celebrating that DK Shivakumar is on the streets? If we have visuals of that, where he's examining as to what is going on, we can see the Deputy Chief Minister. So should we say, okay, things are going to now improve, or it is just kind of, it will remain like this and again it will go back to where it was? Maria Hussain.
It's unfortunately said and no action will be taken. Most of the Bengaluru city's big, huge structures that you see today and IT parks that you see today all belongs to the politicians. If they have to start from somewhere, let them start from one of the politicians' building. Why they don't do that? And permissions granted by all these building structures, which is encroached the Rajakaluways, encroached the stormwater drains, and the lakes disappearing in Bengaluru. Who's given them the permission? So today they wake up and they say, we are going to be demolishing those buildings. Is that really possible? Is it a slice of cake for you to cut it and remove it? No, it's not. It's not going to be that easy. And a common man is going to be paying for this. Again, like I said, who's got permissions by paying whatever to get those permissions to construct those structures to the BBMP by getting the permission and constructing them. And today, they're going to again penalize the common man by saying, you know what, your building has bbeen encroached. It's on a Rajakaluway, so we're going to demolish it. They dare not do that with the politician's building at all. So end of the day, a common man is paying taxes. He doesn't get proper infrastructure. He doesn't get proper roads. He's paying taxes for it. And he's constructed a property. And the property owners who got the permission and constructed these buildings, people living there, have shifted out because of the flooding. Okay. And now you're going to go tell him that we are going to be demolishing your building.
Maria, I also want to what Vivek said, and I said this throughout, and we have done several stories on this. There is a clear nexus, Maria, between these politicians, between the bureaucracy, and between the real estate sharks. All of them get together. Someone may stand up and say, but how come their plans are passed? Because money is exchanged. I think most of the buildings which have been, I am not saying, maybe there are, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. In some cases it could be completely, well, let's get it done with, just create this, no, let's move on, we'll get another kind of a contract for this. But overall I think it is just dirty exchange of money between greasy palms. Would you agree, Maria Hussain?
Absolutely. It's all because of the corruption that is happening. Basically, like I said, within the city limits, not outskirts, we're not talking about outskirts. We see within the city, we see so many buildings which has come up to 5 to 6 floors. Who's giving them the permission? 5 to 6 floors buildings coming up even today, and the white toppings which is happening where it is not required at all, where it's a residential area. Why do you get white toppings to a residential area? It is all money at the end of it. And today, Mr. Our DCM says we are talking about collaboration. What collaboration? Were people involved when the development was happening? Are the citizens involved when the development is happening? Is there anything that they're trying to talk about getting and reviving our lakes back? They're not talking about reviving our lakes. They're not talking about Rajakalu waste, which is not being cleared by the SWMT departments. They're supposed to clear the garbage for the flow of water, which is not happening at all. And then we have this very narrow stormwater drains, which cannot carry the water to the Rajakalu waste. There's so many other things that they need to look at, but they don't look at that. They're only talking about this. This is an eyewash again. It's an eyewash for citizens again, because they're saying that we are going to be clearing all the encroachments and demolishing the buildings which is encroached a Rajakalu way. Is that really possible? It's not possible.
Yeah, I've been reading about it. Both the BBMP and BDA, apparently they don't even have a database of how many stormwater drains are there in Bengaluru. That data is also, there is nothing. What do you work on? I mean, you have to start work on something. Zero, nothing, no data. Also, I want to ask you something, Maria. Is that when you go and demolish all these buildings which have been built on encroachments, what about those people who really bought this with their hard-earned money? I'm shuddering.
Absolutely.
Buying a flat
That's
today is
exactly.
kind of dying 1,000 deaths. There is paperwork, all your life savings goes into it. What are they supposed to do? Is there any plan in action that they will get some kind of a compensation, or they will stand there like refugees and they'll say, go live on the streets? What is this? Anarchy?
Easy target. The common man is always an easy target because he won't be able to fight back. That's exactly what I said. They should be doing this to the politicians' buildings and bigger, huge constructed tech parks. You need to begin, set an example, start from there. Then you can come to a common man asking him why has he encroached, and if he has, who's given them the permission to construct first place. And if you're punishing a common man, the BBMP department and the various other departments who've given them the permission, are they going to be accountable for this? Are they going to be penalized for this? They're not. It is only the man who spent money, all his life savings, and constructed that property, he's going to be penalized again. So it's always a shortcut. They never look at a long-term solution. If they have come up with the acts of we are going to be doing this because we have to do this to get the water flowing into the Rajakaluways in a proper manner. But they're not talking about who has caused this disaster from the last 10 years, or who are all the people who involved in causing this disaster. Why nobody's talking about that?
Very shocking, Maria, is apparently across the board, the plan, the plan to, let's say, create this ugliness that they create on stormwater drains, there are no buffer zones also which are marked out. It is just stormwater is completely ignored, just build here, just build on it. Is that true? Is this how real estate shocks are operating in Bengaluru?
If you look at the white topping that is happening today, it is completely cemented. It is completely cemented and it's very narrow. Does it carry the water? They've not learned their lessons. That's why I've been saying they've not learned their lessons. Even now, now he says the Disaster Management Act is coming into power. Why the Disaster Management Act was never thought of when you were giving permissions for these buildings and these encroachments happening before? Why was that never thought before? Only today, after we have a disaster and the complete city is drowned, you are now talking about the Disaster Management Act. Why this act was not got into action before? You wait for a disaster to happen and then start acting on it.
That's
The
right.
smart city roads, if you look at the smart city roads and the white topping roads, is actually supposed to be maintained by the contractor and the company who's constructing.
No,
or
but where is
building
the
that road.
contractor? There is always a kind of a, a fight which is going on. They haven't paid us. We will not go. You go there. We will. It's all a mess. I mean, there is a long list that I have. I must have done at least 30 stories on the same thing. It is the same. Let's go around the mulberry bush. I just want to ask you something. Do they even have data on how does the drainage system in Bengaluru work, so that they can start somewhere? And I'm not blaming just Shivakumar. Subsequent governments have done it. BJP, JDS, Congress, they somehow don't care. They only want that label. We are IT city. We have great weather in Bengaluru. Apart from that, it is all falling apart, Maria, because
Absolutely.
I don't think there is a will to even improve for a single day, Maria Hussain.
Absolutely. Any department for that matter, BBMP or any government departments for that matter, are not coordinated and they don't have correct information, the proper information, and no coordination between the departments at all. And yes, like you said, it's not just the current government. It's been the last 10 years, the story of Bengaluru. It's really sad. They're only thinking of development and development and development. What is going to happen to the city? Last 10 years, that city has double population. So the city needs to work on it clearly now and needs to look at long term solutions. And you need to get experts. You need to get experts advice as to how do we get long term solutions for this, and not just taking political decisions again saying that we are going to be demolishing buildings, and that's not going to solve our problem.
So you think, before I let you go, Maria Hussain, that this new idea is completely harebrained scheme and it's not going to really make any kind of a change?
Definitely not going to change a lot, and it's not going to be into action also, because there's going to be a lot of chaos. If you're going to be demolishing people's building, you're going to get into a lot of trouble, and definitely it will be like court case, and those cases are going to go to years, and it's not going to get solved. So we have to look at solutions. Like I said, you've got to get the experts and their advices, and then get a proper solution and a long-term sustainable
All right.
solution for this, and not continue giving permissions for any
Okay.
white toppings and any such contracts hereafter, which is going to be adding up to the disaster again.